Well guys, it is time to talk about the second episode of Loki, where we get a little visit to multiple locations in the MCU timeline on planet Earth. And we see some catastrophic events that happen during the course of history, so let's get to it. So Loki's second episode picks up exactly where the first episode left off. Loki is willing to help. Hopefully this will bring him in front of the Timekeepers so he can do what Loki does. Of course, double, triple, or quadruple cross everybody in his path. And we see that they need Loki's help desperately because the TVA, specifically Mobius, doesn't really work the way that the normal human brain does. We sort of get the idea that everybody within the TVA has been conditioned to just do what they're supposed to. They don't really raise many questions or ask for many answers. They just believe the Timekeepers did this is my purpose, this is what I must do it by the book. Loki is adding another element to this because he's able to try to get a few steps ahead of Loki, because who knows Loki better than Loki? So as the episode opened up, we were taken to a Ren fair in the mid-80s, where for the fourth time this week, we hear the song I Need a Hero blasting in something pop culture, so that's an interesting note. Anyway, Loki has figured out that the other Loki is hiding in apocalyptic events, because who would look there right before the destruction or massive death of something, or an entire people or civilization? AKA, now, next up, they want to test some theories that Loki has about being able to do whatever you want in the timeline, because if something is going to get destroyed, it's going to remain in the timeline. So Loki takes them to Pompeii. Pompeii gets destroyed, but just because they did a couple things different right before it was destroyed, there wasn't a variant created or anything that goes wrong. So now they sort of have a tracking path where they're going to try to find where Loki is located, which brings them to 2050 and brings them to Roxcart, where they figured out that Loki must be here. There's something going on here. There's a terrible storm. There's a terrible event. There's going to be massive death. This seems like a good location as any. And this is where we get the big revelation of who the Loki is, which happens to be the female Loki. This Loki has a plan. What exactly is the plan? Well, let's drop reset charges all over the place in different time periods by the look of it, and she's creating various different resets throughout history, and that's where the episode is going to leave us off, on this massive cliffhanger of the TVA panicking because things are not going according to the flow of time. This was the episode that I think many people were waiting for. It kicks up the action, there's still some slow moments, but it gets the ball rolling. We know more about the story. It's centralizing what the main, next few episodes are going to be, leading us to the end. And it gives us a great cliffhanger, which I'm going to talk about in detail in another video because it doesn't really fit this one. But overall, this episode, there's a lot going on. Definitely worth a couple of rewatches, I would say. And speaking of that, if you guys would like to join us, so later on today, the audio commentary for the second episode will be available for all members of the audio commentary tier. And of course, we do have the previous episodes and the last two Marvel shows. So if you guys would like to check that out and join us for the discussion of the episode and going into all the theories and details, that will be up soon.